What's good, Blessed Up Podcast? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Jared. Today we're going to be looking at a clip from Art of Dialogue, and this is of Judge Joe Brown continuing to talk about Kamala Harris. Now, keep in mind, I do not own any of the rights to these videos. These are not my videos that I'm reviewing. These are other channels' videos, so if you want to sit here and say it's stolen material, it is not. But we're going to have a conversation here today, and I need you guys to stay open-minded based upon what is going to be compensated in this video today. Now, as I stated before, vote your own interest. I don't personally care who you vote for. Just understand who you are voting for and not voting based upon identity. So let's see what Judge Joe Brown has to say. And y'all think what I said was bad? Oh my God, this one is funny.
But I gotta ask you about Kamala Harris. How you feel about her?
She's a piece of shit. I was in California. She lacked professional competence, and she worked on it by hiking up her hemline when she needed influence rather than researching. I was out in California for 15 years doing my show when she was at her peak, and she had a reputation amongst the trial lawyers of being lazy. She just hike her skirt up and try to flirt, and she wasn't that good in the courtroom, if not pretty bad in the courtroom. So I'm not surprised at what she does. She's 60 years old, and I think listening to her word salad and the way she talks, I think she's got early onset dementia and also some problems with menopausal complications. That's that, you see, today is going to be tomorrow. So since it's going to be tomorrow, today we have tomorrow, which is why we are now. Like, what did you say? They have something in mind, but they cannot cognate getting all the way through it, which is why she's famous for this word salad garbage, and she doesn't make a bit of sense. I think since she's only 60, she's actually on a worse track than Biden was. Biden is 20-some years older than her, and he has been senile for a long time. Now, about 5 or 6 years ago, when did they start ramping up to do this? 2019. Okay, I was saying Biden has been a failure his whole adult career, a second-rate, third-string player. He's in the game, so he wants to make a name for himself. I considered him for years poor trailer park, urban trailer park trash, and he's a crook.
Shit. For... Damn. I mean, Judge Joe Brown don't pull punches, but damn. He don't... There was a lot said in that. He was talking about Kamala Harris's word salad bullshit that comes out of her mouth. And then he was talking about Biden's history when it comes to his policies. And keep in mind, Judge Joe Brown has been around for a long time. He's seen a lot of shit. And the fact that he commented on Kamala's ignorance when it comes to her law practicing, it says a lot. And the fact that this woman has... The fact that he was a judge for 15 years in California, and he's had experience with Kamala, it says a lot. Not only did this woman get a lot of black men locked up in California, she laughed about it. And he is the first, he's seen firsthand what this woman was about. She was incompetent, and to get shit done, she would flirt with you because she was lazy. Boy, what the fuck? I wonder what I wonder what if she did get elected if she did get elected, what would her history be like as a president? Would she be far worse than Joe Biden, or would she be a little bit better? I don't know, and I got a feeling that she'll be far worse than Biden ever was.
He's a third stringer. Now, what I said he was going to do is he probably wants to claim fame for being the first person to see to it that a woman got to be president. And what I predicted, I'm slightly wrong on it, was that he was going to get in, try to get elected, and if he got one term, try to get elected for a second one. And then halfway through his term, when he had served 2 years, to retire or resign in her favor. So under the 22nd Amendment, what happens is she can serve for the final 2 years for somebody and then be elected twice more. So that woman would be able to serve 10 years, second only to Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who got elected to 4 terms before they put the amendment in place so you couldn't. Now, that said, I think, and my major at UCLA was political science. My analysis was is they picked the weakest somebody they could as a figurehead, somebody who had some apparent minority status, which she does not. And what goes on is that you get her, everybody that is everybody would be afraid to go against her because of what she can pass herself off as. And then you get somebody that's easy to control because she's lazy, because she is becoming incoherent, and because she's always tried to do the casting couch to get where she wants. Now, the problem is that'll get somebody to a certain level quickly, but you can't get past that level if you don't have competence and talent. So my thing about it is if I'm crude about it, in this city years ago, I used to represent a whole bunch of pimps and hoes, and I know a hoe when I see one. And I say this, I don't care, women, you do what you want to do if you want to have recreational sex, but when you do the casting couch or anything else for professional purposes to get paid or advance, you a hoe. And she's old hoe. And the
Now I'm starting to see a correlation with her campaign strategy and her history. Montel Williams, Downtown Willie Brown, and a host of other people to help her get her political career started. Her being a lawyer and her laziness with the way that she handles herself back then, according to Judge Joe Brown. And then today, with her getting Meg Thee Stallion, Quavo, and a whole host of other people like Cardi B to campaign for her, it's all starting to make sense now that I'm watching this video. It's starting to make sense why she's campaigning on the shit she's campaigning on. If you're an old hoe, you've seen a lot of guns. And also, if you're an old hoe, you've had to have a lot of abortions. So now it's starting to make sense the way she's campaigning. The reason why she doesn't have any policies that will help America, because she has no she's not a competent person.
The problem is what is she supposed to do? Somebody, one of her sycophant slaves, comes up and unwraps her in a carpet naked at Putin's feet, and he says, "Oh yeah, I'm Julius Caesar." He said, "No, I got better stuff here already. Plus, I don't want you anyway. You old woman, get on up." You know, or Xi Jinping, is he supposed to be impressed? She's doing word salad. Well, we're here today because China and the U.S. are here today, and that's why we have to agree on what we're doing here today. Like, fool, what did you just say? Did you say anything? And I've never seen such a salacious mess as I've seen out of her. I think of One West Bank. I had some pretty good properties out in California at one point in time. And I know I had 3 neighbors who had good properties. It was in a place called Ojai, California. And they got caught up about 15, 16 years ago, like a lot of people did, in that mortgage bundling scam stuff that was going on. And there was a bank called One West Bank responsible for it, which was owned by George Soros. The Mnuchin that you have out of the Obama administration was Mnuchin, who was the CEO of One West Bank. Well, there were approximately 1,200 counts of indictments returned against Mnuchin and One West Bank in various counties in California. Well, Mnuchin and Soros financed and arranged and sponsored Kamala to run for Attorney General of California. They got her elected. She got in, and using the authority she had, she promptly consolidated all 5,200 counts and dismissed them. And a couple of weeks later, Soros sold One West Bank for $4.2 billion. So after that, they got together and got her finance and got everything organized and made the connections for her, and she got elected to U.S. Senator. Willie Brown made the initial contacts and arrangements so she could get elected as district attorney for San Francisco. She didn't do a very good job. She had a reputation for giving out the stiffest sentences in the United States of America for simple possession of marijuana in San Francisco, for God's sakes. But it was only to young black men. She's not a parent, never had any children, but she went off on this campaign to lock parents up, some of whom actually were shown to have dropped their children off at the school, but they played hooky, so she was putting them in jail. I know my
Black people, let's have an honest conversation. This woman's history is crooked. Let's have an honest conversation. Is this who we need to vote in? Is this who we're going to champion as a supposed black woman? This woman's history is as crooked as it comes. And boy, this is getting worse.
My in-laws, now late in-laws because they're dead, and their fine daughter that I was married to, we were divorced. She got a whole lot of money, but anyway, out of me. What wound up happening was there was a liquor store they like to patronize on the way home, and it was a good liquor store, but it got held up a lot. So Kamala's solution was not go get the crooks, but close down the liquor store so nobody would be troubled by it. See, that kind of philosophy. Or you've got a serial killer who's got 6 victims, and the families are writing protest letters to her, not hurry up and do something, not why you giving the guy such a light deal, is why don't you let this man plead guilty to life without parole instead of delaying it for 7 years, trying to make political hay out of it.
You know, that's something that Judge Joe Brown just said that actually is apparent.
And the families are writing protest letters to her, not hurry up and do something. Filmed up a lot, so Kamala's solution was not go get the crooks, but close down the liquor store so nobody would be troubled by it.
That's the same mindset that she has about gun control. Cause let me explain. So Kamala's and a lot of the Democrats' solution to the gun violence is to ban the tool, the weapon, if you want to call it that. They're trying to ban the weapon instead of going after the criminals that are creating the doggone offenses. Now, if you go after the criminals, you will have to actually put work in and actually find out who these people are, who they're connected to, why these people are doing it, and you're going to have to actually implement rules and actually have to find out why these people are doing this stuff so that you can prevent it in the future. They rather go after the tool that was used and put you and I in harm's way for their benefit and for their supposed God complex, if you want to be honest here. They feel that they have the power to take away your right to defend yourself because they believe that they can. Meanwhile, they're protected 24/7, 365 days a year by armed security with more deadly weapons than we have. I find that ironic. And California is the literal place where you, as a Secret Service agent, could get robbed at gunpoint and nothing happens to the criminal. And this is where this woman came from.
See, that kind of philosophy, or you've got a serial killer who's got 6 victims, and the families are writing protest letters to her, not hurry up and do something, not why you giving the guy such a light deal, is why don't you let this man plead guilty to life without parole instead of delaying it for 7 years, trying to make political hay out of it. I was caught up in a thing where this woman who was supposed to be a financial specialist wound up embezzling a lot, $1.5 million from me, about $15 million from some other black celebrities. And most of it was in the San Francisco area, not LA where I was. She consolidated the cases up there in San Francisco, took 5 years to resolve it, let her plead out not the $15 million of embezzlement, but $35,000. The sentence was 5 years in the penitentiary, 4.5 years suspended, 5 years probation. The woman wound up sitting on a bench outside Sybil Branch, which is the women's detention facility in LA County, for 5.5 hours. That's all the time she served, made no restitution. And la-di-da, I'm through with it now, I don't care, on her behalf. Like, where's our money? You know, what did you do here? You didn't even consult with us. You did this on a surprise basis. There's $15 million gone. What happened? It's the kind of thing she would do, see. So it's like, that was not a good professional performance. And then she was everybody's favorite Hindu Indian prosecutor and attorney general and senator, and now she becomes black. But, you know, I met her daddy, fine gentleman, Professor Harris. And the problem with her being black is Professor Harris says he's Caucasian, mixed Irish and Hindu. He doesn't have any black ancestors, but his Irish ancestors owned a lot of slaves in Jamaica and had them to work on plantation.
So, although her dad is Jamaican, but he's not black. Say what now? So, no, so this woman has no black in her. Her daddy's Irish. Her daddy's Irish, Caucasian, and mixed with all sorts of other shit. And he's not Jamaican, but he was born in Jamaica. And her mom is a Hindu, is a Hindu Indian. So this woman is Hindu, is a Hindu woman. This woman is not black. This woman has no African descent in her. So she's again lying to get a black vote.
So if mama is on the birth certificate listed as a Caucasian, daddy says he's a Caucasian Hindu and has no black ancestors, how did she get to be black? Now, a little side story. When I had my show, let's say this has been 26 years ago, I had two beautiful women that I thought were sisters on the show. And they laughed one time when we all went to a happy hour and said, "You think we're black, don't you?" "Yeah, aren't you?" "No, we're Hindu." One of them said, "My mother's a Hindu Brahmin caste. My father was Hindu warrior caste. He took an oath to the family to protect her. They fell in love, eloped, and now we got a death warrant on us. We can't go back to India." So, yeah. And then they gave me two books. The guys were Hindu, and they were very dark, but they cut their hair off close, grew beards, and started dressing and acting black, and they got financial aid. One of them, I think, went through medical school that way, masquerading for being black. Somebody else did it, so she went to Howard. And by the way, she told one big lie when she was talking about she got bust because of something Biden did when she was running against him. Well, the yearbook that she put out there that you can still get online from her high school in Canada shows she went from kindergarten through 12th grade in Canada, never went to school in the United States of America. She was born, by the way, in the same hospital that my ex-wife was born in, the same 12-month period, and my late mother-in-law was in fact a pediatric nurse in that hospital when Kamala was born. And the birth certificate that she has is interesting because the confusion comes from a mistake. On the birth certificate, it lists the mother's race as Caucasian, national origin India, and religion Hindu. For the father, it does not list national origin. It does not list religion. It does not list anything about that, but where it says race, they put national origin in Jamaica by mistake. Now, if you've ever been to Jamaica and you get over to St. Elizabeth Parish, you see all the high, bright, and white that live in Jamaica. So I've got a good friend retired from law enforcement. He has a white wife, blonde-haired, blue eyes, but she was born in Jamaica. Her parents were born in Jamaica. One's blonde and blue-eyed, the other one's red-haired and gray-eyed, and they happen to be related to the King of England because they are aristocrats in England, but they were born in Jamaica. So if you go over there, you see people from Hong Kong, Singapore, New Zealand, Australia, Kenya, South Africa, you name it. It's part of the British Commonwealth, and nobody needed a passport, and you could just go in and out. So,
Jesus Christ. Jesus Murphy. This is another level of insanity. And what's baffling is this. I know I'm not going to get many views on this video. I already know. I know Kendra G video, my Kendra G videos are the ones that get the views. But this right here is the critical shit that actually needs to be talked about. because not only is he not only is Judge Joe Brown literally exposing this woman, he's literally exposing a lot of the shit that goes on in these different countries and the mistakes that happen with birth certificates. Wow.
It's not unusual. You're not black just because you are from Jamaica, and you have a whole lot of white people that never left, and their ancestors owned a lot of slaves. The Maroons went up into the hill country and got themselves free back in the 1840s, but, other than that, it is what it is in Jamaica. So just because you're from that country does not mean you are of the black race. So the problem is why don't you go get your daddy to give you an affidavit that you have a black ancestor? And since the only possible claim you have is through your great-grandmother, who he says was a Hindu house servant that just happens to be swarthy, where'd you get your blackness from? See, you're faking it again. And I say this after 50 years of experience. The worst human beings you will ever find are career prosecutors. Something slimy about them. They are so turned off by humanity and everything else. They don't care. They're trying to win the game. It is just play to them. They don't give a damn about the people they represent. They just want to win. So they lie, cheat, steal to win the game. And that brings up the other thing, where the Supreme Court of California ordered her to produce the evidence that was exculpating to somebody sitting up on death row that she had hidden. They did that over and over and over again with her hiding this evidence. Now, there are exceptions to this rule with career prosecutors, but if you ever want to sleazy somebody, find yourself a career prosecutor who's never done anything else but that until they have moved up. Now, there have been people like Thomas Dewey, who was a career prosecutor. He got Lucky Luciano, the gangster that set up the mob as a syndicate, a business. He got him and became governor of New York and then an unsuccessful candidate for president twice. You have people like that, and you got Kamala, who was a career prosecutor. And that's essentially all she's done outside of moving directly over into politics. They tend to be crooks. They're not good people. It's like I used to, on the bench, it's like, excuse me, can you approach both of you? Do you have any character? Do you realize what you just did? Well, I mean, no, we can't have that. That is not going to be allowed up in here. You do it again, and the court's going to see to it that you get a 10-day paid vacation courtesy of the sheriff. No. See, and that's what I'm looking at. She wants to be chief administrative officer, but she's never been the boss over anything. She was nominally with the Attorney General's office, but you've got all of these egos with all of these people with doctorate of laws who've taken the bar exam, and every one of them in there could run against you in an election and be your boss, and is as qualified technically as you are to run the place. So she's never been the boss in charge of something where she dictated, because what she did in San Francisco and when she got over California is she essentially had somebody else doing it, and she was just a political figurehead. So when you come into this situation here, Putin, Russia, Ukraine, those are serious things. They have a lot of nukes. You've got Xi Jinping, and China's got one hell of a huge army, air force, nukes, computer systems, and so on. What is your experience in international diplomacy? You got made the representative of the country to handle the foreign affairs. You failed so badly they yanked you out when you were actually the boss in charge. The borders are. You just complete abject failure to that. Your only appearance down there was to sit in a chair in the desert while they interviewed you, trying to be cute, flashing your pearls, and you didn't do your job. So you're talking now about you want to legitimize 20 million aliens who've come in here and see that they get fast-tracked so they can vote and become part of the whole process. What are you doing? Whose jobs are you taking away? What about the people that actually lined up to go through the rules? You know, I want to become a citizen, so I take the courses. See, nobody's checking. They've got an outbreak of hepatitis. They got an outbreak of measles. HIV is ramped up. They've got all kinds of things. They've got problems with strains of tuberculosis that have no cure. So people before they come down with it, you have to put them on prophylactics for the rest of their life so they don't get a fatal illness that nobody can cure. So
this is why it's important to actually understand who you're voting for and not voting for a person just because of their color. Because the thing about this is this. A person's history predicts their future. And this woman's history is that of abject failure and disgust. And this woman is being paraded around by the Democrats. And this woman is an abject failure. We're literally on the brink of World War III. And this woman is running around here like this. And you expect people, normal, everyday Americans, to want to vote for this woman just because she's a woman. And this woman has proven to be a fact of failure. Boy, let's continue.
nobody is running the medical test. Nobody is checking to see what penitentiary they got out of. And something that is pretty real is a movie. You remember Al Pacino in Scarface? They dumped all their penitentiaries and they're over here. You got all of these Latino gangs that have now infiltrated. You've got Ukraine. You've got Gaza. You've got people that hate the fact that they don't have technology to shoot down a B-1B bomber. So what do? They just walk across the damn border. Nobody's checking them. Somebody is giving them free transportation without even vetting their luggage. And in the luggage, they have military-grade explosives, which over the last several years, I'm sure they put in various building structures, hospitals, subways, and everything else. And on command, they flip the switch, and 911 looks like a Boy Scout meeting.
That's why I said them letting in all of these illegal aliens and all of this stuff, that's why I said espionage is the name of the game. There's been documented Russian, there's been people of Russian, Chinese, Arabic, Iranian. There's been millions of people coming across the border from all over the world. Now, every country knows about the situation at the southern border. Every country does. These people are coming in, not being vetted. So there's no telling how many sleeper cells are in this country to this day. You don't know. They could be in Washington. They could be in New York. They could be in California. They could be trying to get implemented into the military. They could be trying to get put in all of these different places. And on top of that, you don't know who they know in this country who's already been here. So the fact of the matter is this. This country is so insecure right now that we cannot allow this woman to be elected because this woman is an abject failure. This woman is not a good fit for office. This woman is not a good fit for any of it. And I'm telling you right now, and I pray to God I'm wrong. I pray to God I'm wrong. If this woman gets elected, I have a deep fear that this country is going to be attacked from all sides, from inside the border to nuclear fallout. I pray to God. I pray to God that I'm wrong, but something in the back of my mind, something in my chest, something in my heart is telling me that we as Americans need to prepare for a level alpha threat from foreign adversaries and domestic adversaries. I'm telling you right now, something is telling me it's a one. I swear, this right here, what he just said, just confirmed my suspicions on it. I'm telling you guys, fuck what the Democrats say, fuck the gun control shit, fuck all of it. America is in a weakened state. Our military is weak. Our government is weak. Our president is weak. We are on the verge of a literal collapse. And I'm telling you, this shit is scary. I already know YouTube is probably going to suppress this video, but this shit is very scary. We as Americans need to realize the present threat that we could be within 2025, 2026 to the 2030s. We could potentially be at war. And I mean a heavy war. That's all I'm saying. And I'm praying that this don't happen. I pray I'm wrong. But I got a feeling that I'm right about this, and this shit's starting to scare me. So if you got guns, train.
So what are you going to do about these things? Nobody's checking. You have a situation right now that has to be taken into context. Just about every major seaport is using these container removal cranes, these giant gantry cranes. They're made in the People's Republic of China. Nobody checked them, and now they went back and did, and there seem to be some things built into them that they can't remove. Don't know what the function is, but they appear to be communication devices. What the hell are those? You know? So you want to shoot down a B-1 bomber 56 miles from the southern border point where there is a huge illegal crossing. There is a U.S. Air Force base where 24 B-1 bombers stage out of. You can just surround a damn base with some RPGs and take a few of them out. We don't have but 24 of them that are operational, and some other was in long-term storage because we can't afford to operate the damn things. What are you supposed to do? That was your job. Did you do it? Did you handle it? No. So, they've got this thing where sometimes they promote people up. You fail at a job, but you got a rep, so they can't get rid of you, so they promote you.
And what he's referring to there is the DEI hire situation. Now, I'm gonna talk to you guys about the tactical failure that this woman has basically wrought within the country, and I'm trying to be, I'm gonna try to be nice, I'm trying to be nice, but this is the tactical disadvantage that we're at. We have an unknown amount of sleeper agents that entered the country. There could be millions of them. We don't know. You have people coming into the United States through different hidden passages that are not being watched by the federal government, aren't being watched by the border control. They aren't being watched by anybody. You have a incompetent vice president who was put in charge of the border. You have a political party that is so wrapped up into this DEI gender inclusion bullshit that's literally brainwashed damn near everybody that doesn't have a simple brain. You've brainwashed these people to believing this shit, and we're vulnerable. The strategic disadvantage in that is this: if something is coming, you don't know where it's going to come from. It could be coming from within, or it can be coming from outside, or it'd be a simultaneous attack. CDK has been hacked again. CDK has been hacked again, okay? How many different people do you believe can hack into the U.S. government's mainframe? How vulnerable do you think our power systems are? Our oil systems? Our resource systems? How vulnerable do you think these systems are? These systems are critical to the survivability of this country as a whole. Everything we have nowadays, including our phones, are miniature computers. These are highly advanced computer systems. Your computer, my phone, my everything. Everything is through computers. The US dollar isn't a real dollar. It is a digitized dollar. It is based upon a promise, not gold. We are living in a time where technology is around us, and that technology can easily be infiltrated by foreign adversaries. Think about it. Where do we get our products from? China, India, Russia, or some place in the world that's not produced in the United States of America. Okay? So you don't know what kind of products, where this attack can come from, and that puts us at a strategic disadvantage as a country. I don't want to call Kamala a Trojan horse. I don't want to call her that. But this entire situation, as I am staring at it, is a Trojan horse. This scares me because if this Trojan horse gets put into office, she's easily influenced by anybody. There's a reason why I say certain people are not meant to be in the White House or the Oval Office. There's certain people that do not need to be there. Women are not meant to lead, and this right here, This woman is trying to be in a leadership position. Meanwhile, she's not even aware of the present threats that that Americans and America faces on a daily basis. She is incompetent to what's going on. Meanwhile, while we're around here parading around like we are the strongest country there is, which we're strong, but we're not stronger than China nor Russia. And these are our two biggest adversaries. And I am not calling China an adversary, but from the way that everything is going, China is going to be an adversary within the next 5 to 10 years. Russia is already looking at the United States as an enemy due to us supplying Ukraine with military-grade hardware and weapons and vehicles. Russia is looking at the United States as an adversary. We as a country are on the verge of being in conflict with two of the largest military powers in the world. And we have a woman trying to be a leader when she is not a leader. She is not a leader. She is not a follower. She is an airhead. She can be easily influenced by an outside party, which she's proven that she could be influenced by an outside party. Ladies, I'm sorry to tell you this. Y'all need to stay in your place. You need to stay in the kitchen and cook. Because the way that this situation is going, this is going to be an all-out war. And I got a feeling that it's coming a lot sooner than we think. Our infrastructure is compromised. Our infrastructure is compromised. Remember back when Trump was in office and that oil pipeline got hacked and got shut down. That was a test bed to what they could potentially have. That was a test bed to what they could potentially do to our country. That was a simple test bed. You see how Americans reacted when that happened. Imagine if the power goes out. Imagine if our nuclear power systems got hacked. Imagine if a sleeper cell infiltrated a power station. They could take millions of homes offline. What if they were implemented into the military? What if they already have infiltrated the United States government? I'm not even trying to be a conspiracy theorist. But these are present threats that we have to think about as a country. Let's let this finish.
Like, for example, Halsey, Admiral Halsey, Bull Halsey, always charged off, was aggressive. Great in World War World War II, the first part of it. But there was a thing in the Philippines, well, not Philippines, Leyte Gulf. It was a disaster. The Japanese laid a decoy force out. He fell for the trap, took off with all of the warships, left the beaches totally unguarded, told nobody, and he should have been court-martialed. But because of his fame, they couldn't, so they wound up promoting him to 5-star admiral instead of court-martialing him and canceling him. So, I mean, they do this kind of thing. So it's not unusual. But I'm just saying, hey, if you're going to bring somebody in, bring in somebody that knows what the hell they're doing. Meanwhile, she had a little rally in Georgia. I think 86 people showed up. That was supposed to be interesting. And she had the nerve to call Vance unpatriotic. And he came back on her big time. He said, simplify, to serve, loyalty. I was in the Marine Corps over in the sand pile, and Trump took a bullet. What the hell have you done? You know, and you want to call somebody out on the subject. See, it's hypocrisy. But you see, I did this because I did what I did, and that's what I did, which is because that's why I did it. Hey, what the hell did you just say? Do you realize what you said? Do you know?
You know, I appreciate Judge Joe Brown, and he's a elder that keeps on giving. And the thing about it is this: that elder, he's seen a lot of shit, but I'm telling you, the things that he's seen, I got a feeling that he knows something that we don't know. And that's the shit that scares me, because think about it. If Judge Joe Brown is calling out Kamala like that and exposing her for the shit that she's doing, exposing all of the different dirty deeds that she is doing, what could potentially blow up in our face? And that's what a lot of people have to realize. The shit that could happen with this woman being implemented into the country, I don't know, guys. That's something that we all have to look at. And oh boy, that worries me. That really worries me about our country. But like, share, subscribe to the channel, support the podcast on Spotify.com. I'll see you guys on the flip side. If you guys want to support me on Spotify, please do. If you guys want to support me on Patreon, the cheapest one I have is $3. Please go over there and look at some of the content that I've posted. And if you guys also want to support through Cash App, Skyrocket04. And I appreciate all you guys for listening. I'll catch you guys later. Bye, guys.